Hi everyone, it's Tony Fernandes with the AirAsia team here to go through our fourth quarter results and our year end. It's a great year for us, a record year for AirAsia. What I was most pleased about was the fact that we delivered on our promise of making all ASEAN airlines profitable, and now we have a new engine of growth. If we look at a consolidated full-year group performance, passengers carried was 56 million for the group, up 12%. Our overall load factor for the group was 86%, up 6 points. Revenue was 12 billion, and net operating profit at 1.6 billion, and group profit before tax 2.13 billion. I think we've now reached a new target in life, and we're one of the top few companies in Malaysia that has 2 billion ringgit in profit. From the group performance for the quarter, 14 million passengers, a group load factor of 85%, revenue of 3.24 billion, and net operating profit of 478 million. Cash at 2.97 billion. Our gearing was at 1.3 times, which is substantially down as we predicted. And going through each associate, starting with Indonesia, load factor up 3 points to 83%, CASK down a remarkable 25%, and the second consecutive profitable quarter, resulting in a full year profit for Indonesia, which was really one of the high points of my 2016. Thailand revenue held. Actually, it had a poorer fourth quarter, really down to the fact that the passing of their beloved king and the zero fare tour, but business has recovered in the first quarter. Philippines also now, as I predicted, for those of you who've been following AirAsia for a while and our road shows, that Philippines was going to be the next AirAsia Thailand. Revenue up 36% on 19% passenger volume and 70% increase in average fare. RASK up 5% and CASK down 18%. If you take out the disposal, we've been working hard to get rid of the old legacy Rolls-Royce IAE engine aircraft. That resulted in a charge of 493 million pesos. We were operationally profitable, and I'm pleased to report that the first quarter is even better. January has been a stellar month for the Philippines. So both Indonesia and Philippines, we're now on the road to profitability a la Thailand style, and we have now 4 engines of growth: Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines. India has been a big success, despite being sued almost every day. Our revenue is up 30% from a 50% increase in passengers. CASK is down, and for the month of December, we had a record month and were profitable for December. So we're tracking towards profitability in 2017 and looking forward to launch international routes in 2018. So India has actually performed better than we thought. And just for completeness, AirAsia Japan is on schedule, well, not on schedule, but scheduled to launch in beginning of June of 2017. Going through, so those two slides, we wanted to highlight our consolidated numbers because we really want to show AirAsia as one company. A lot of work has been done in moving towards a consolidated AirAsia like Ryanair and EasyJet, and I hope over the next few months some very positive announcements will be coming from ASEAN and its ASEAN leaders, enabling us to consolidate. We're working very hard on consolidation, and I'm still optimistic of being able to consolidate AirAsia for the first quarter in 2017, which will further enhance the transparency of our accounts and treat us in the same way as Ryanair or EasyJet or Southwest Airlines. And already we've had good support from the ASEAN governments. Going towards Malaysia AirAsia, the company revenue at 1.7 billion. The reduction in revenue and operating profit from last year is purely from a one-off adjustment on maintenance reserve in the fourth quarter of 2015. We put in a maintenance adjustment, a maintenance reserve fund of a credit of 457 million. Taking out that one-off revenue increased by 15%. That's similar for operating income. We've had a very, very good quarter. If you take out the one-off adjustment that How made for maintenance reserve in 2015. EBITDA at very high 47%, EBIT at 30%, load factor for Malaysia Berhad was 87%, up 2 points, and average fare up 5%. Passengers carried was 6.7 million for the fourth quarter, exceeding capacity of 2%. Net operating performance was really down due to the one-off adjustment. If you take off that 450 million from our net operating in 2015, you will see quite a significant growth. I also want to add that we paid a substantial bonus amounting to about 90 million ringgit for AirAsia All-Stars due to the record year. Ancillary income didn't get to my magic 50 ringgit number, really due to two reasons, which we will talk in the next slide. Actually, I'll talk about it now. Basically, we've taken out the opt-in, opt-out, and we've given 100% ability for passengers to choose insurance. That has led to a reduction in insurance. Secondly, interesting enough, we made a lot of money from cancellations of flights, people cancelling. It appears our brand is getting stronger and less people are cancelling, and those are the two reasons we didn't get to 47. Our main engines of growth from ancillary all increased quite substantially. So with the rest of our initiatives, which I'll talk about later during the presentation, I'm still pushing to try and get to that 60 ringgit mark. I anticipate more like 55, 57 ringgit by the end of the year with all the initiatives we're doing. But I'll still push for the 60 ringgit mark by the end of 2017. The third slide is really a perfect slide for an airline. We added some aircraft, NEO's coming in. Our RASK is up 6%. Really, the strong demand for air travel remains in the AirAsia group, despite the softening of the economies. In some ways, we're probably benefiting from the softening, and we're seeing strong demand for the first quarter as well. Fare was up at 186, which I'm at 5% up. Cost is down 8% from jet fuel, and it would have been further down if we didn't have that one-off extra accrual for bonus for the year, which Irene generously gave. On top of that, I mentioned the ancillary. So again, I believe RASK will trend up even more in 2017, despite more fare pressure from competition, which I'll talk about a bit later in the presentation. This is a tagline I came up with, in that it appears to me when I read analyst reports, they're all worried about capacity increase and more competition from Malindo and a resurgent MAS. If I go back in history, I've seen this every few years, that people have predicted the demise, profitability going down, etc. I just want to refresh everyone on the call that really we're durable. We've been 16 years in this business. We've been consistently the lowest cost airline in the world. We've consistently driven ancillary income at very high levels, and we're still going to grow it more. We've consistently had a long track record of profitability. Competition has come and competition has gone. The most important page in this slide is the lowest cost airline, that you cannot compete unless you have the lowest costs, and that's what I'll be focusing on with my management team, Rosman, Irene, Bo, in driving costs down further. We believe we can take a lot of costs down in 2017, and that's what we're working on. I'll talk a little bit about that towards the end. We have done all our investment. While some airlines are just going to China, we are so deep into China that it's very hard for them to compete. Our expansion cost is much lower. We have a very strong brand. We do have first mover advantage. Our ASEAN advantage, in terms that we have such a huge network, is really fulfilling an objective in fly-through, and even in markets where we are the smaller player like Indonesia and India, our low costs and our product is making inroads into profitability. I think while everyone has been focused on Malaysia and viewed Indonesia and Philippines as a drag on earnings, it's going to be different. While we may have a little bit more competition in Malaysia, we now have a new engine of profitability coming from Indonesia and Philippines, and I dare say in the not too distant future, Indonesia. So our investment has really paid off. On top of that, the slide above, we continue to have this competitive advantage through foresight. We have now got over 60% of our aircraft is hedged in terms of currency risk, and our fuel for 2017 is 75% hedged at $60. That's jet fuel. And we've already paid for our aircraft prices, and we fixed a lot of our planes on interest rates. So really, we have got a tremendous amount of our aircraft and our fuel looked after for certainly next year, and that I think gives us a strong advantage. We've always been ahead of the curve, and you're going to see the efforts. We invested tremendously in social media, which has been a very strong competitive advantage from other airline carriers. We now have 80 million social media accounts, and that has enabled us to also sell to that audience. And now we're using that social media experience and huge amounts of data, digitalization of all our data, into driving ancillary income and increasing conversion on the website. And you will see a lot of data initiatives which will give us a very, very strong initiative. Most airlines haven't even started in Asia or Southeast Asia on this path of data analytics. We are very, very far down the curve, and you'll see in 2017 which will give us a huge advantage. So that will close my presentation for 2016. A great year for AirAsia, the group, with a record profits and a great decrease in costs and an increase in RASK. And as I said, very proud about the fact that we have turned around Indonesia and Philippines. In terms of strategy for 2017, my main aim is cost. We're going to be driving costs down very aggressively. We've already put in initiatives to increase our utilization to 14 hours. With our increase of our pilot salaries, we have a lot more flexibility through our new productivity arrangements to do more night flying and taking up slots that are not available during the day into China and India and other places, and that's enabling us to push up utilization by 14 hours, which is no mean feat. That will make us the largest, the highest utilization of any airline in the industry. By adding 1.5 hours, that brings our cost down quite dramatically. We now have an excess of pilots, and so we're going to add capacity. Where we've had very high load factors, we've been short of capacity, and we are looking at about 8 aircraft into Malaysia this year, and I won't repeat that. You've seen what Thailand and Indonesia. On top of what we've mentioned before, we're adding extra aircraft into the Philippines now from what was previously mentioned before. We're looking for another 2 or 3 more aircraft into the Philippines. The Neo has been a fantastic aircraft, and we can't get enough of them. Our costs are going down from the Neo, and we're working with Airbus and others in the Internet of Things. So by reducing our maintenance expenses through huge data pools, we are digitizing all our old data, which is set in silos, into big data lakes to enable us to reduce turnaround times, to be able to reduce maintenance costs going forward. Big drive of me is, as you've seen in the press, working together with Rosman, is to work towards one holdco structure and one AirAsia. At the same time, also taking out cost by combining departments and increasing efficiency. That is a big drive of us. We've made a lot of progress on that, and over 2017 you'll see more and more of this as we move towards one holdco company. In terms of monetization, we don't think we've been given much value for a lot of the assets that we've built, so we're looking at disposing a lot of these assets and creating new engines of growth. We've talked at length on Asia Aviation Capital, and final bids will be in on 27th of March, and that's progressing very well. We are presently looking at a dual listing, either in Hong Kong or the New York Stock Exchange. We are looking at IPOing our cadet center, our training center, ACE, which has become a huge revenue accretion, but we're not given any value for it. So we will take the cash and reduce borrowings further or invest that in new airlines. And we are in negotiations to sell our 25% of AirAsia Expedia. Capitalizing on the success of AirAsia Expedia and AirAsia Training Center, ACE, we are going to set up a new ground handling company with GTR, and we're in discussions to sell 50% to a very, very large company to set up a new Asian-wide ground handling company going further. And we're also, it's not on this presentation, we are in the closing stages of announcing a very big cargo and a courier company with a very well-established cargo courier company going forward. So we're utilizing all the assets within AirAsia Group to look for joint venture partners and further enhance our third pillar of business, which I've always liked to say is our private equity. I've talked at length on data and technology, and that's going to be helping me reduce cost, increase revenue, and the ability to grow ancillary further, as that was handed in the earlier slide. And I still will push for my 60 ringgit airport tax, despite some of the things we've lost in insurance, etc. But I still believe we're on track to come close to that number by the end of 2018 through the initiatives I've mentioned earlier. A really good year from the company, proving that our strategy of investing in ASEAN has worked, and we're on track to IPO Indonesia and Philippines. Rosman is working very hard, and our timeline for both of those IPOs will be by the second quarter of this year, meaning all of ASEAN would have had IPOs. We have very strong cash balances. Our gearing will further go down, obviously, in the first quarter with the introduction of another 1 billion ringgit of cash that has come in from the founding shareholders. And competition, while has grown, there's no doubt about it. The market is very strong, and we're able to deal with that and still maintain growth going forward. But on top of that, we're not a one-trick pony anymore. We have Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines going forward, plus a strong ancillary income machine and a very strong generator of cash through the disposal of some of our assets and the introduction of new joint ventures that we're looking forward to. That concludes my presentation, and I'm open to any questions that you may have following that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. And now a brief instruction for all teleconference participants. If you wish to ask questions, please press star 1 button on your telephone keypad to put yourself in the question queue. To cancel your question, please press star 2 button.
I do such a brilliant presentation.
Once again, if you wish to ask questions, please press star 1 button.
How many people are on the call?
The first question is from Mr. Daniel from Morgan Stanley. Please proceed.
Hi, Tony. Well, congrats on a good set of results.
Thank you.
Just one quick question from me. Just want to understand the others income. I noticed that it has increased quite substantially in the quarter. May I know what's inside this number?
Aircraft disposal.
As we've talked about, as some of our aircraft have got older, we've decided to dispose some of our aircraft. So that's some of the profits from that.
And brand license.
And we're now collecting brand license fees, and that's going to become a bigger income as now Indonesia and Philippines start paying for that as well as Thailand.
I see. So if I look at the gain on the disposal of your aircraft, that's about 22.4 million this quarter, right?
Mm-hmm. What we'll
and
do
then
is
the rest of
what we can do is we'll send out. I'll ask Esme to send out some details on that ancillary income, so you can have more color for your projections on branding, etc.
Okay, because I mean it's quite a substantial increase. It's like almost close to a double increase.
Yeah. So
on the others line.
So how can you give some color to that?
Yeah. Okay. One of the portion other than the gain on disposal of fixed assets or aircraft that you see, that has been lumped under others. That also includes the disposal of aircraft slots. That basically we have sold it off to some of our associate company, including like Thailand. And brand license fees, I think Tony have highlighted, that also a major portion of it. And lastly, also it involved actually some of the no-show that basically we have forfeited some of these no-shows revenue and recognized it in our book.
Okay, so we'll send. Yep.
Okay. So you, I think Hao mentioned about the disposal of aircraft slots, right?
No, I think he means selling our aircraft to Thailand.
Oh, okay.
That's a financial controller's way of confusing everyone. No, we weren't selling slots. We're not in the slots trading business. Okay.
Got that. Just also want to clarify on the impairment on investment of associates. That's for Indonesia?
No, it's for Philippines. We just are prudent. Actually, the accountants didn't ask us to do it, but we just felt based on some of where the IPO is going, we just thought we might just provide for it. But actually, we could be very prudent here. It may not be needed at all, but we just decided to put it in.
Got that. And that will reduce the receivables from Philippines, right?
No, it's on the investment side. So when we transfer, we're transferring the intercompany receivables to PERPs, just like we're doing for Indonesia, which we will use for an IPO. We're just reducing some of the value of that investment as a really a precaution, from a prudence perspective. But I would argue with them that it was not needed, but we just decided to put it in.
Got that. My last question would be on the any color on the divestment of your aircraft leasing business. I think you did mention just now that there's a 27th of March date, if I'm not wrong.
That's when final bids will be submitted.
Right, got that. And are you concerned about the recent capital controls from China that's limiting a lot of the business owners from acquiring overseas assets?
No. China is not the only people that are looking to buy assets like that.
Right. So there probably will be a lot more.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say or not. But basically, all bidders do not seem to have changed their appetite for what they're looking at.
Got that. Okay, cool. That's all from me. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks a lot.
The next question is from Mr. Ajit from UOB. Please proceed.
Hi, Tony. Congratulations on excellent set of results.
Thank you.
I've just got one question. The others have been already answered. This is your plans in terms of setting up ground handling operations. Could you expand on this? Are you going to line maintenance in Indochina and China?
Basically, just like ACE, I always feel that airlines underutilize their assets. So ACE was built as a training school for AirAsia pilots. There was a lot of capacity available. We are not in the position to know how to sell that capacity, or do we have any ideas on running a third-party training center? So we invited the biggest training center to be a joint venture partner with us, and we signed a long-term contract with that joint venture company to protect our costs, and then we allowed them to go and sell the excess revenue. That's been very successful, and it's a very profitable company, as you can see from this set of accounts. And eventually, as was mentioned, actually the board just approved to IPO that asset, which could generate as much value as 100 million to 125 million to 180 million, depending on what valuation method you look at, US dollars. So a very valuable asset there. And so again, for ground handling, I've always seen that why do our ground handlers only handle AirAsia flights? When I look out of the window from the office, there's plenty of times that they could be handling other flights, and especially outside of Kuala Lumpur. And we're probably the only company that has ground handling in all over Asia. So rather than make it exclusive for AirAsia, we are looking for a partner who is a ground handling company. And Bo Lingam has been meeting many partners, and there's a tremendous appetite for this company. And so again, we will do exactly what we did with ACE. We will sign a long-term agreement with this new joint venture company to fix our cost base for the next 10 years. And then they will look for third-party clients. So what was initially a cost for AirAsia will become a profit center for AirAsia Group.
Okay. My second question is regarding your plans to.
So I didn't answer you. It would be everywhere, wherever we could get a license. China, Indochina, Singapore, Thailand, everywhere we would handle it. The company is called GTR. A bit of a dumb name, but then so was ACE, etc. But it's not a consumer branding name, so I let people name it. GTR stands for Ground Team Red, even dumber, but it will work. And as long as I get value and I make money, doesn't matter. It's not a consumer-facing brand. So I've left it to very unimaginative people who came up with this name, just like our leasing company and our training center. So if you see GTR, that's what it is.
I see. Okay. Thanks a lot. My second question is regarding your planned increase in utilization. You mentioned that you're looking at India and China. For China, would you be focusing on tier 2 cities, flying to tier 2 cities?
Yeah, I mean, our goal has always been tier 2 and tier 3. If you look at our capacity, we have very little flying to Beijing and Shanghai, those kind of routes. We've always focused on tier 2 and tier 3 cities. That's our strength. What I've noticed that people amazingly don't mind flying at 2 o'clock in the morning and arriving at a place at 5. Something I personally would never do, but it seems to be quite common for Chinese, Indians, Koreans, Japanese, even Malaysians now don't mind traveling. I find a lot of young people say I might as well take a flight than be at Zouk and start my holiday earlier. So we've decided to feed that market, and it's quite a profitable market as well, and it takes up a lot of slot and capacity that we don't have.
Okay. Another question relating to that. Would you then receive some sort of grants or incentives from such tier 2 airports in China?
Definitely.
I see. Okay. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thanks.
The next question is from Mr. Raymond from CIMB. Please proceed.
Hi, Tony.
Hey, Raymond.
Question here on. Hi. So here a question on AAC. So final bids by late March. When do you expect to make a decision, and when do you expect it to put it to shareholders and regulatory approval? So I just want to see what the schedule is for all these timelines.
I don't know whether we have to put it through to shareholders. We do. Rosman says yes. So I'll let Rosman answer that question.
Yeah, we are looking for, after the submission of the final bids, we are looking at about 4 to 5 weeks to finalize, agree, table it to the board. And because this is a major major disposal, we may have to table it to the shareholders for final approval. But
I reckon it will be completed in 2 or 3 months.
So shareholder EGM will probably be sometime in May or June, right?
Yeah.
Probably around June.
Yeah.
Okay. So assuming that you get approval there, do you have to seek regulatory approval?
No.
No regulatory approval?
No.
Okay. So if that sometime in the third quarter, do you actually expect to receive the cash from the sale of AAC?
I suppose so. Why, do you want to bring it through CIMB?
Okay, never mind.
Okay, I would imagine it'd be pretty soon after that.
Okay.
Because we'd run it in parallel. While we're getting approvals, the other payment in will be sought.
So then, looking at AAC's quarterly financial performance, I do notice that there's quite a bit of volatility. Every quarter seems to move up and down by quite a bit, and I think the fourth quarter quarterly profits was the largest to date. Could you give me some sense of why the leasing business profits are moving up and down so much? We would expect it to be relatively stable.
No, it's a sense of putting in aircraft into AAC. So as we're getting approval from banks to transfer from AirAsia Berhad to AAC, that's why the profits are all over the place. That would stabilize by the first quarter, I think, of this year, where all the aircraft will be in there.
Okay, once all the aircraft is in there, what is the run rate of profit margin, the profit after tax margin?
What is the constant on AAC?
Once the business has stabilized, I'm just trying to get an understanding of what the PAC margin will be.
The what margin? PAC. What's PAC? Oh, profit after tax. So, Raymond, we'll give you those details a bit later.
Okay.
Okay.
So just move on to Indonesia now. The Indonesian revenues in the fourth quarter did decline from the immediately preceding third quarter, and that is more or less to be expected. But one item that really stands out is the other income, which went down by half from the third quarter to the fourth quarter. So I understand that this other income is mainly related to the payment coming from Indonesia AirAsia X, which runs some of the domestic and the A320 business for you. But why does the other income fluctuate so much from one quarter to another?
Other income is pretty much subject to the operational profits from the 5 aircraft that have been leased to IAX. So I think the fluctuation pretty much demonstrated the profitability of those routes.
As we've been adjusting capacity and routes on those 5 aircraft, there's been some change. It's gotten to a steady state now, and actually we're working with the regulators to try and get those 5 aircraft back into IAA, so that we'll have a cleaner look at the accounts. But it's really a little bit as we've been playing around with the route structure. That's why that's happened. And we've been moving aircraft in and out. We've been changing some aircraft, etc., between IAA and IAX.
Okay, so if the 5 aircraft go back to IAA, then IAX will be left with only 2 aircraft. Does that then put it in a position where it is again not compliant with the regulation?
That is what we're working with the regulators right now. Obviously, if we can't get that passed, then the aircraft stay. But we're trying to work. There's a new minister, there's a new regime in place, so we believe we can get that sorted out.
Okay. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thanks, Raymond.
The next question is from Mr. GD from Diamond. Please proceed.
Congratulations for a great set of results. One of the things that I wanted to get a little more clarity was when we look at some of the, other smaller airlines who have booked profits and sale of aircraft, those numbers are very large. It could be $300-400 million cumulatively for a fraction of your size. Now you have an order book approximately about $20 billion. What is the, value sitting there in terms of discount. I mean, I guess that numbers are very large, and I guess if there's no way for us to estimate that number, I mean, it should be pretty big. I mean, would you...
well, I'm not going to say on an analyst call what our discount is, but basically there is a lot of value, but we're not a trading company like some of the airlines. We're using these airlines, if you look at my presentation slide, to have this competitive advantage. Obviously, our aircraft price is substantially lower than many airlines. That gives us a part of why we have the lowest cost in the world. The trading of profits comes from owning these aircrafts and then selling them off at a later stage. Obviously, we could book a tremendous amount of value if we were to sell our order book, but then we don't have any aircraft to grow. So I'm saying that we are focused on growing, and that's why we transfer our value on our aircraft order into lower airfares and having a significant cost advantage over our competitors, which has enabled us to have the margins that we had and grow our business. But if you were to look at the value sitting in our order book, you're right, it's substantial, but we're accruing that value over a period as we grow the airline.
Understood. Because, as analysts for us, there's no way to put a number to that because a lot of value of your business comes from future growth when you put these airlines to use.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our
multiple.
Yeah, correct. If you look at our multiple doesn't take any consideration of future growth right now, and hopefully in time people will begin to see the true value of this airline going forward from its earnings potential of the network and the AOC structure that we've built going forward.
Understood.
Thank you.
And when we talk about the billion-dollar valuation for the leasing company, some of that would come by novating part of the order book to the leasing company.
One of many areas of value that we are giving the leasing company.
But we'll still be left with a significant part of the book which...
Oh, yes.
Will.
Oh, yes.
And
yeah, we are the largest customer in Airbus, and so buying planes has never been an issue for us.
Understood. And can you also share some more color on, the forward bookings and
yes,
how strong are they?
First quarter is we're ahead of where we were this time last year, and obviously the Chinese New Year has moved a little bit, but I can give you my own example. I had to fly China Southern the other day to Guangzhou because I couldn't get a seat on my own aircraft.
That's good news.
Yeah, I was waitlisted the other day from Singapore, so load factors are high. In the end, I sat with the pilots. We are in our prospects right now. Malaysia is projected to receive an average forecast load of 89%. That's probably one of our best for a first quarter. In Thailand, we're looking at 87%. In Indonesia, we're looking at 82%. And in Philippines, we're looking at 92% for the quarter. And in India, my favorite country, especially as I'm talking to you, I presume you're Indian, we're at 89% load factor. So it is, we're continuing the success of the fourth quarter in the first quarter from, and these are in the commentary on prospects in our accounts.
Okay, that is good. Okay, that's all from my side.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tony. Yes.
The next question is from Mr. Daniel from Hong Leong. Please proceed.
Okay, hi. My first question will be on the user charges, which has increased quite drastically. Quarter on quarter is about 40%, year on year is about 20%. Is this mainly related to the US dollar?
330 and 320.
Is he talking about Indonesia?
From Indonesia. How bad is
So were you referring to Indonesia?
No, the user fees in your first page.
Because we were so short of capacity that we wet leased aircraft in from Indonesia AirAsia X, and that has increased the user charges because about 35 million because we're using A330, right, for the last 6 months.
The 33 million is just for the quarter alone.
Yes, correct.
And then going forward, are you going to continue this
We are
A330s?
Yeah, we're doing it till April, I think.
we have returned one, and then
We've
the
returned
second
one
one's
aircraft, and we are still using one
until March.
until, I think it's extended till April at the moment. These are,
Return one.
we returned one,
Sorry?
and we
Okay.
still we will have one till April.
Okay. And then another question on as a follow up on the other income. If since you say that there are a lot of the sale of the aircraft slot to the Thailand on this, if I'm going to normalize it back, will it be around 50 to 60 million per quarter basis?
No, I think for the quarter it's only contributed about 22 million.
No, How has a fantastic way of saying things. Basically, take out about 30 million, and that's a normalized figure going forward. About
Take out 30 million.
Yeah.
Every quarter I expect 100 million.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a huge jump from year-on-year basis.
Yeah, as I said, the branding fee is now being paid, and that's why I said we have these 4 engines of growth. On top of the profitability from this, we have the branding fee being paid as well, which is something that hasn't been recognized for a long time, apart from Thailand.
I see. Okay. Another thing, what is your expectation of your yield for 2017 as compared to 2016? Ticket news.
My what? Oh, yield.
Yeah, ticket yield, ticket price.
Okay. I've never really focused on yield so much. We're a low-cost airline. I'd like you to focus on RASK. We're trying to fill the planes up. That's why our load factor is higher. But if you really talk about yield, it will go down for sure as we try to push the load factor up, because we're trying to drive more ancillary income. That has been something I'm pushing very aggressively. And obviously, we've got more capacity coming on stream. But RASK will go up for the quarter.
RASK will go up for the first Q.
Yeah.
But for the full year of 2017, do you expect it to to be flat year-on-year, or you expect it to come down as well?
Am I allowed to say
In
that?
terms of RASK?
I don't know. I don't know whether I'm allowed or not, but I'm happy with the way it's going.
Okay. And then I realized your other the finance income side actually increased quite drastically, 40 million. And then looking at your breakdown, you have a derivative kind of earnings recognition of 40 million. Do you expect this to be recognized every quarter, or just one-off?
It will fluctuate with the fluctuation of market.
It fluctuates depending on the market. We have volatile currencies right now, and so it fluctuates. So can't say there's a steady state there.
The 40 million it's mentioned about discounting on deposit and non-current payable others.
But I think this discounting, I think is pretty much more than accounting treatments, because we do have some long-term deposits. So all those things will be subject to discounting factors. So we will typically do an adjustment of those things, I think, when there's actually quite significant movement.
So you expect it to be these figures roughly around every year, 40 million, 60 million? Because
yes, around
I'm looking at your yearly numbers.
Yeah, I mean, for discounting, we will expect the number to be sustaining at the level. But I think
every year positive numbers, or you can be even negative.
A positive.
Every year positive.
Yep.
Okay, you say you are still on track for the IPO of the listing of the Indonesia and Philippines side. So you do still expect it to be listed sometimes end of this year?
No, second quarter.
Listing of both
Yes.
associated this second quarter.
Yes.
Or second quarter is just the starting of the process.
No. The process has started a long time ago. Otherwise, how to list in second quarter?
I see. Just to get a confirmation on that.
Okay, can. Confirmed.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all from me for the moment. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
The next question is from Miss Ajita from Macquarie. Please proceed.
Hi, Tony and team.
Hi.
2 questions for Tony first. Firstly, can you just remind again what's the fleet addition for Malaysia this year? And then secondly, for Philippines, AirAsia, even though you have a high load factor, it seems to be still loss-making. What else needs to be done there? And then the last question is for Hao. Could you explain the realized forex gain of 400 million in the quarter? What is it relating to, and also is this a cash item? Thank you.
MAA is 8 aircraft, TAA is 6, Indonesia is 2, IAA India is 6, PAA is 5. I've added 2 more, and Asia Japan is 3. In the Philippines is making money, Azita. We just have a one-off loss from disposing the old IAE aircraft that we inherited from Zest, which are very unreliable. We still have 2 more of those aircraft, and we've had a record January, really very profitable month. It is profitable now, it's going the right way, and as we increase more fleet, it will become even more profitable going forward. I'm very, very bullish on the Philippines. The economy is in the right direction, the tourism market is going in the right direction. We will serve Japan, Korea, and Japan, Korea, and China, and we're developing new hubs which look very, very sexy going forward. So nothing more to be done apart from changing the last 3 aircraft on IAE, or the IAE fleet. And as you'll see a very, very strong first quarter from the Philippines. They have load factor of 92% right now. What was the second question? No, there was 2 questions for me.
Oh, yeah, you have answered both already. Don't worry. Just on for how is on the forex.
Why do you assume I don't know that answer? But anyway, I don't.
We actually carry out quite a lot of corporate exercise I think this quarter, which includes I think the perps for Indonesia as well. So when we're actually converting a huge amount of depot, we actually lock in the rate, and when this at a much higher rate actually relatively, which allows us actually to make a lot of forex gain actually also happened during this quarter. At the same time, I think one of the other significant move is we also brought back some of our CNY's FD money and converted also at a much higher rate as compared to what actually had happened at the closing, at the transaction rate, which was pretty much talking about rate which has been there for some years back. All this basically contributed to a huge realized gains, and then at the same time, I think partially offset with the unrealized losses. If you follow me, yeah.
Alright, so how much would you say it's half of it? How much is related to operational, and the balance related to the CNY deposits?
I would say for operational, I think is not going to be as significant. I think typically we are still in net US dollars liability positions. But of course, we can't compare ourselves to our last year's positions, because by re-innovating a lot of the planes to AAC's accounts are all prepared in US dollars. So we are indirectly immune from any forex fluctuations, I think coming from US dollars for almost like 600 million US dollars borrowings. So I think if you were talk about, I think on the normal circumstances, what we will foresee is under the normal operations, maybe we should be talking about something along the line of like maybe 50 million, 60 million.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Raymond, Rosman has informed me that the margin on AAC, once it reaches its stable state, which will be first quarter, is about 23-24%.
The next question is from Mr. Mohsin from Maybank. Please proceed.
Hey Tony, everybody, good results. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Just wanted a repeat since you were saying it so fast. Fleet addition, Malaysia is 8,
Yeah.
Thailand is 6,
Yeah.
Indonesia is 2,
Yeah.
India and Japan, please tell me.
6 for India, 3 for Japan, Philippines 5.
Okay. And follow-up question with regards to that. regards to that unrealized forex, right? So it was mentioned that under normal circumstances it would be 50 to 60 million realized gain or loss for this particular quarter on fourth quarter.
No. Loss, yeah. I mean, you're talking about operations, right? It's not.
Yeah, operations. Let's forget about that complex CNY deposits and those ones off. It's just the operational number.
Yeah, but when I'm referring to 15 millions, I'm referring to for annual basis.
Annual basis. Can you give me the fourth quarter number and also annual basis, and whether it's a positive or a negative? 50, 60 million what? Positive or negative?
50 millions, if at this exchange rate of 4.48, basically we'll be talking about approximately 50 millions maybe for the entire year.
Okay. Yeah. Positive or negative? Is it a positive number?
Negative.
Negative. Okay. And for 4Q 2016?
4Q 2016, there's a lot of exercise that's carried out. So we will not be able to tell you exactly, just for normal operation itself, basically what that represents. We will need to actually rerun all the numbers in order to satisfy just these questions.
Well, it's a very important number, how?
Yeah, that's why basically...
For us to be able to disclose what's the core number, core operational performance of the quarter.
What's important perhaps is for you to actually look into the sensitivities to the forex. Don't you think so? So per annum basis of 50 millions that you can work out based on 4.4486 minus 4.29, which was last year's rate.
No, it's not going to work. We're never going to get the answer, how? Never. Not over a phone call.
Come and see us in Red Q.
I think I have to do that.
Yeah, what I'll do is we're more than happy to share how we got that and how it affects the sensitivity. So maybe Esme and her team will arrange whoever wants to come over next week and can sit down with Hao to look at the currency sensitivity. We feel quite comfortable with our hedges in place, plus our strong demand, that the weakness in the ringgit actually is playing a positive effect on us because there's a lot of inbound tourism. We are advertising very aggressively to say Malaysia is a cheap destination, plus our fly-through product is very, very strong, which isn't in this presentation. But as the ringgit is weak, it is much cheaper to fly out of KL than it is out of Singapore or some of the neighboring countries. And many Australians, Japanese, Koreans, Chinese and Singaporeans are using Malaysia, AirAsia and fly-through because it's become very effective, and that's obviously helping. So the currency actually has probably a positive effect on AirAsia's business going forward due to the hedge that we have in, plus the extra demand we are generating from tourism inflows.
The next question is from Mr. Eric Lin from UBS. Please proceed.
What's your expectation for the airfares for this year? Will it continue to go up, given that your load factor is already so high?
No, I said earlier that actually we are focused on RASK and we're really pushing on higher load factors. So I don't anticipate fares going up. I really am focusing on trying to get higher load factor and driving more ancillary income through that to get our 60 ringgit target. So I think fares will actually probably drop a little bit going forward for all the AOCs, but RASK will go up.
I think another issue is that your fares have actually on an uptrend in the last several quarters. Is that a function of the new routes that you are starting, i.e. probably the existing routes you are running, the fares are actually falling, just that you are starting new routes that are having structurally high fares?
No, new routes generally have lower fares actually, as we introduce low fares to stimulate the routes. But I'm saying we're getting to a steady state of fares. We don't want to kill demand by keep increasing fares. We want to have higher load factors. We're not a Cathay or an SIA, etc. We're really focused on load factors, and we're really driving hard to fill the planes up and really trying to drive the RASK up through higher ancillary income.
Yeah, because that comes back to the question I think earlier. You talk about load factors are already so high. So going forward, I'm just trying to get where is the upside from? Load factor is already so high.
Extra planes. more capacity. We have not added capacity for a few years. We've been very cautious. We've been very, I think we've been quite prudent. That's why we're back into our growing stage. So more planes means more revenue, and that's where the growth is coming from.
Okay, thank you.
The next question is from Mr. Marvin from Alliance. Please proceed.
Hi, Tony. Thanks for the call. Just a couple of questions from me. The first one is with regards to the Malaysian operations. Given that you're expecting to take in 8 new planes, what sort of capacity in terms of ASK growth is the group looking at?
It'd be about 10%. Just below 10.
I see. Okay. Then my second question is relating to fleet. Just a little bit of housekeeping first. At the end of 2016, out of the group fleet of roughly 172 planes, how many of these are on operating leases?
I don't know that. Do we know? Why don't you ask the next question while the guys look for that?
Okay, sure. Okay, given that the fleet growth expectations this year are 30 planes across the units, assuming I got the figures correct, are these fixed commitments? Could this number increase or decrease?
I think there is more demand in Indonesia than what I've said. We've only put in 2 planes. Apart from that and what I mentioned in the Philippines, I think Malaysia could potentially take 1 or 2 more following a route meeting. But I think it's safe to say it won't go down. And if anything, it might go a little bit up. But we're more or less there.
Okay. And given, back to the leasing arm, given that it's close to over 60 planes now, will any of these new deliveries be, say, placed into the leasing arm first and then leased to the country unit?
Not yet.
Or are they going direct?
At the moment, we're still going direct, but I think by the first or second quarter, some of the planes will be going from AAC.
I see.
Op lease is 46 planes.
46. I see. All right. Great. Yep, that's all the questions from me. Thanks again.
The next question is from Mr. Nazri from PNB. Please proceed.
Hello. Hi, Tony. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Congrats for a very good result.
Thanks.
I have 4 questions for you. The first one, investment in associates, a non-current asset. There was an increase from 1.4 billion in the third quarter to 2.2 billion in the fourth quarter. So can you explain a bit more on this actually?
That is transferring the perps from Philippines into that. So we're taking the intercompany loan and converting it to perps.
Transferring the what? The perps?
Transferring from intercompany loans to perpetual notes.
Oh, okay. And then the next one is basically, I noticed that for amounts due from associates, the non-current part dropped from 1 billion to 390 million, third quarter to fourth quarter, and the current part also dropped from 700 million to 420 million. So can you explain about this as well?
It's exactly the same. It's just from interco to perps. So let's say it's the reverse.
So this one is basically related to everything is related to Philippines.
Yes.
Okay. And my third question is basically with regard to Indonesia, AirAsia. You put there in your Bursa announcement, the average oil price for fourth quarter 2015, it was 61. But the thing is, before this, you put it at 75. Is that actually an error or what? because there was a huge drop. Because before this, for Indonesia, I think it's around 70, and all of a sudden, this quarter is 62, and fourth quarter 2015 is also 61. Previously, you put there at 75 for fourth quarter 2015.
In the operating statistics, is a little bit confused because it has some of the IAX numbers as well. So that kind of distorts it a little bit. We can send you a note clarifying that. It's not a major drop.
Okay. The last question would be regarding to the Thai AirAsia. I noticed that there's a huge drop in other income. What is this actually? Why there was a huge drop in other income for Thai AirAsia?
I don't think we know actually. We'll come back to you on that.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
We'll try and check while the call's still going on if there are other questions.
The next question again is from Mr. Daniel from Morgan Stanley. Please proceed.
Hi, Tony. 3 questions. I think first is on the AAC. If your final bid is by 27 March, when do you have to make an announcement to the market?
As soon as we accept the bid by the board.
That will be 4 to 5 weeks from 27 March.
I'd imagine. I mean, don't lock us into any timeline.
No, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Second question is on the breakdown of currency for your revenues. Do you have any color on that?
No. It's not something I know off the top of my head, but I understand why you asked the question now, and maybe when we do this currency thing, we'll give you a flavor of how the currency mixes are, so where the benefits are, etc.
Got that. The last question is actually for Hao. So, in the finance income, the discount on the deposits, that will be relating to your maintenance reserves. Am I right?
Yes, I think it will happen on both sides. It's basically relating to all the non-current portions, whether it's PDP's deposit with Airbus as well as actually our maintenance reserve. Yeah.
I see. Can you explain why there's a huge jump then in terms of that maintenance reserves deposit? Because your operating reserves went up?
Okay. Maintenance reserve deposit basically is because of a program that we actually signed up with GE, managed by the Power Programs. So it's a 12-year program that we will prepay on a monthly installment basis. Whereas these prepayments will only be utilized upon overhaul of the engine, which typically happen in year 8 and year 9. So by the time we send for overhaul in year 8 or year 9, we no longer have to have any commitment for any payments. Over the years, it will be accumulating in our non-current prepayments until when it's sent for overhaul.
Got that. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
The next question again is from Mr. Ahmad from Nomura. Please proceed.
Hi, Tony.
Hi.
Good results. Congrats.
Thanks, man.
I just have one question. Okay, I've noticed on your AEC, can I get an idea how much of that borrowings are hedged at 3.27 on the ringgit?
No idea. We come back to you on that.
How? Any idea how?
AAC is all in dollar. Yes. Revenue is all dollars. Yes, everything is.
No, AAC doesn't take a hedge because they are dollar-based company.
Okay, but of course in terms of payments for borrowings, that will be from a ringgit source, right? So it has to be hedged at some point. So I'm just getting an idea how much of that.
Most of these planes are at the moment coming from all our associates.
And
So they pay in dollars. So there's no gain or loss.
All right.
It's a great business to be in. Okay.
Okay, and just to follow up on the AAC, before the divestment materializes, are you going to book a adjustment on the asset value?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you.
The next question again is from Mr. Raymond from CIMB. Please proceed.
The currency hedges for the operating expenditure, it was mentioned here that 50% hedged until May 2017. Would you be able to share what the average rate was?
4.3.
And would you consider hedging more going to the second half of the year?
Yeah, Rosinal, our treasurer, is currently working on it.
Okay, and in terms of fuel hedges, do you have any hedges in 2018?
Just started today. 1%.
Good start.
Yeah.
Would you consider taking longer term hedges rolling forward into a couple of years?
No.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
There is no more question from teleconference participants, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. We'll go on the road in the next 12 months. And while I know there have been some questions on AAC, please focus on the underlying performance of AirAsia, which I think is very strong, and first quarter will be very strong. AAC will continue. There'll be many more AACs as we divest from a lot of our investments going forward, and that'll be a recurring cash balance. But the underlying strength of the company is very good. We'll see you on our road shows, if not before. And for those of you who enjoy listening to Hao's unrealized and realized foreign exchange, he'll be holding a class in the next few weeks. Thank you very much, and see you next year. Bye.